Hello there, my crafty friends. It's Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind Stampin AF. During my weekly Facebook Live this week, I had a request to demonstrate these little boxes. And like the dolt that I am, I sat here and I measured and I tried things. I wasted a bunch of cardstock. And then after recreating what I think is maybe a better version of the box, I remembered that for each catalog that we get, there is basically a recipe for all of the samples in the catalog. So this is on page 26, so I just navigated to page 26 on that document, well, the one that showed page 26, and saw their measurements. And it wasn't that far off from what I had done. But let me start with the one that is shown on that page. Now, I'm going to start by saying that I use Stampin Seal on this, and I would not recommend that. So basically, all you're doing is this little square, and now I can't remember what it was, what the measurements were, but you're basically just scoring at 1/8 of an inch on either side, and then you're folding up and you are adhering here. And this means that you can still see through. So if I put this little lifesaver in there, the wrappers on these mints are really hard to work with. So if I do that, you can still see the lifesaver, which is super cute, right? But on mine, I had given it kind of an enforced back so that it would be a little bit stronger. And then the heart that came out of this die, I just glued it back in. So this fits my little lifesavers. So you can see it fits lifesavers, it fits little peppermints. It's super cute. Now I just used Whisper White Thick. Would not recommend that. It works, but it's a little hard to get these 1/8 of an inch scores nice, looking good. So I did another one where basically it was a full box, and then I put my dies on either side. Great. And it holds a kiss. So now we've got peppermints, lifesavers, and a Hershey's Kiss. The only problem is if you're not careful like that, you can really bend that and it could probably break off. Now, worst case, if that happens, just cut that part off, right? No big deal. But then I thought, okay, well, there's another little die in this set that has the house. And I am telling you right now, I am really going to miss this set. I'm sad to see it go so quickly. And I think for maybe no other reason than having these little landscapes. But when I was looking at my dies, I noticed there's this little one, which is pretty much the size of those houses. So I thought, okay, well, let's reinforce the front and back. We'll put in a real red house, and then we'll do these ones. And then I popped up the heart that is die cut back in. I popped it up on a mini, and this one I put Wink of Stella. The other side I just left it plain. And this one is a lot sturdier, although that part, it can still move. It doesn't bend down as easily. And then I thought, okay, what if I want to put something bigger in there? Like 3 Andes mints. So full disclosure, I am not mathing well today. I know math is not a verb, but I'm making it a verb and I am not doing it well today. So it took a little bit of time for me to get the dimensions of this one, but I love that it can hold 3 of the Andes mints, or it can hold like a Lindor truffle. It could probably hold a Ferrero. It's a nice size, and if you had these at a place setting for when we can actually gather and have a meal together, I think that would be super cute, right? Especially if it's a new home. So cute. So let me show you. I'm not going to show you all of these. This one, if you are a demonstrator, you can find the sample recipe in that document. I'm not going to recreate this one because it really is very simple. I am going to show you this one with a reinforced house and this one. So let's back those guys out of there. We'll take our candies out because we'll probably use them there. And I love that these little lifesavers are individually wrapped. However, last year, instead of having apple, cherry, and peppermint, I mean, they had the same flavors, but the peppermint was this one last year, and it was so cute. It kind of made them stand out, but I don't know. To me, this one should be cherry, and it's not. It's peppermint. But these, I use the Circle Tab Punch. I think that's what it's called. And I used the stamp set that goes with the mini curvy keepsake dies. And I actually still have mine. It didn't sell in my BOGO sale, but I thought we can't do in-person stuff this year, so I'm not going to go through and decorate my full bag of these. But if you're looking for something that's individually wrapped, these are fantastic. So this is 2.5 by 2.5, and we're scoring at 3/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. We'll just give it a little burnish because it can be tricky to see. So we are now going to miter these tabs inside and out. And what I like to do is turn it. So instead of having both tabs on this side, like instead of having my tabs both come down, I'm going around. And I find that that makes for a stronger box. It also means I am less likely to cut a tab off. Have you ever gone to cut and realized that you had already cut the other way? So then you're just cutting your tab right off, essentially. Not a good idea. So I'm going to go with my ride or die adhesive and use liquid adhesive. You could use tear and tape, you could use Stampin' Seal Plus. I would not recommend Stampin' Seal because you can see on this one that it didn't hold. But in this house's defense, it was Stampin' Seal. It's on Whisper White, thick cardstock, and it's only 1/8 of an inch on for it to adhere to. So really unfair advantage, right? Or unfair disadvantage. Okay, so we're just going to keep going in a circle until we get our box complete. Circle in a box. And whatever you do on one side, do on the next. Like, I don't want to start putting my tabs on the outside. I want to keep them on the inside so it looks consistent. Whoops. Try and get that last tab inside the box before you try and close it up. Okay, so once we've got that done, we can go ahead and cut out a couple of houses. So we need 2 of just this die, and we'll do 2 of the stars, I think, this time, because I've got the heart already. And I'm thinking it might be nice to use some of the DSP for this one. I want this to be cardstock because I want it to be strong, but let's use some of the Trimming the Town DSP for this. Now, that being said, Trimming the Town uses Poppy Parade, and I'm using Real Red. But we'll get over it, right? I still have so much of this paper with like a week and a bit to go. So this will be going in my BOGO sale. And if you live in Canada and you're not familiar with my BOGO sale, I just posted the event today. And Facebook events now is requiring that you share the link right away. So of course I've got people going in to find out what's going on. But on Tuesday, January 5th, which is the day that the new mini catalog goes live, I will go live on Zoom, and I will go through each of my retired items piece by piece alphabetically, because I'm a nerd like that. I'm just going to trim this down a little bit. And I will go through piece by piece, and when there's an item that you want, I think we're going to go this way, then basically you just stake your claim. You put up your hand or say I want or whatever, and the first person to stake their claim gets that item. And so what happens, my little desk mat is really annoying when it comes to this, so I'm going to move it out of here for now. So now I've just moved everything I need out of my reach. But because the mat moves, it's hard to get my mini to stay put. So basically, once you've won an item, then you get to choose the equivalent amount in new product from the new catalog. So instead of you buy a retired, you get a new one free, you pay for the new one, you get the retired for free. I think that's an easier way to explain it, I hope. Now, what I'm going to do, instead of doing, of course, everything's out of my reach now, right? So instead of doing 2 of these, I've got my one in DSP, so that will go on the front, but on top of our cardstock piece. And I will just do one of these on the back because the die, that was silly of me, right? The die that works to give the house a little bit of extra stability actually doesn't match this one. It's a different shape. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, so we've got a square top and we've got like our traditional rooftop. So I will just do one of these out of real red. And I'm not sure this is really going to work on here, but let's give it a try. We can just maybe cut it down. Sure, I go and switch things up so you can see a different take on it. And of course it's a different house, right? Didn't think that through. But I love the fact that there is a heart and a star. And when you're cutting these out, don't throw away those little hearts and stars because you can use them for something else. Okay, so here's our little piece. I'm just going to put this off to this side because we will need it for the larger one. Okay, so now what we can do is we can glue these together. And you could actually just put one on one side, but I think that might look funny. So let's keep this one as the back and we'll keep this one as the front, and we just have a little bit of modification to do because that's going to look silly. So we'll cut this just a little bit lower than it needs to be. And I find the easiest way is to put the glue on the front piece, the back of the front piece. Because if we get glue where we don't need it, we can hide it. If we glue right onto that real red piece and say we forget that the star is there, there's kind of no getting rid of that. Okay, so there is our stronger front. So we'll put some glue on the base here. We don't have to worry about the opening for the star. Give that a few seconds and get the bottom flush, the bottom of the house flush with the bottom of the box. Now, when we go to glue this one on, I don't want my chimney going the wrong way, so I need to put this on basically backwards. So on this one, I'm going to put it right on here because again, I don't want to put it on the box and then have it where I don't need it. So I need to go a little bit higher than that. And if having that star on the back bothers you, just fill it in. Put the piece of DSP back there. Now make sure again that the bottom is flush with the bottom of the box. So if that was unclear, if you don't want that star open like that, just pop this little piece in. But it doesn't bother me. It's also the back of it, so is anyone really gonna see it? Probably not. Okay, so that is our first little house. So this one was just cardstock. This one is DSP and cardstock with the funny little square star. So let's put a candy in there. Cute, right? And then let's do our larger one. And for the larger one, I stamped and colored it just to give it a little bit more interest than just a piece of red cardstock, also because it's so big. But you could just die cut that house, which is this die here. But I think we're going to do this again. The other thing we could do is just die cut that. But I mean, I still think that it's kind of missing something if it doesn't have the version of the house, because this isn't our traditional house, right? Okay, so enough of the chit chat. This is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I have scored it at 1 1/2 and 2 3/4 on both sides. So 1 1/2, 2 3/4, 1 1/2, 2 3/4. Now we're gonna have to do a little bit of trimming when the time comes. Let's just give this a little light fold, light burnish. And I must have made this box about 3 or 4 times before I finally got it right. Like I said, I'm not mathing well today. Okay, so now I want to, this one we're going to do it differently. I'm going to do the ends. So I'm basically discounting everything I said on that other box. But sometimes you need to change things up. Okay, So miter on both sides. I often wish that we had a punch to do this, but it just wouldn't work, would it? It would have to be adjustable, like it just wouldn't work. But I would love if we had a little thing that notched it. This gets rather repetitive. Okay, so when I'm saying that there's a little bit of adjustment we're gonna have to do, if we left it like this, our box isn't gonna close. It's kind of like we're making a Chinese food takeout container. So what we need to do is take, you can use your trimmer or you can just eyeball it. Basically, we need to take a little bit off. Basically, we're doing 1/4 of an inch or 2/8 because this was 3/8. Like the width is 3/8, but the length was 5/8. So we need to take that little bit off so that it folds properly. And it took my head some good time to figure that out. Okay, so we'll line that up. And you may want to miter just a little bit more if that bothers you. I'm just going to leave it because, it's been a day. Okay, there we go. We'll add glue to both of these at the same time. So push that one in, push that, push it all together, and just make sure that everything is square. You don't want it pushed in too much, otherwise your items may not fit. And with liquid glue, you have a few seconds to manipulate before it really sets in there. Okay. That piece didn't go quite the way I wanted it to, so I'm just gonna trim off that excess. So now we know that a Lindor truffle will fit in there. Ferrero Rocher, the 3 Andes mints. So let's get our house stamped and colored. I'm going to use Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Going to stamp my house. I was doing some experimenting with coloring, but then I thought, oh, kind of got a red and white theme going, so let's kind of stick with that. So what I did was I actually stamped this one in Smoky Slate. If you have ever wondered if you can stamp in a Stampin', like original Stampin' pad like this, you can. You just can't stay in any one area too long. So I think with this one, we'll maybe do a little bit more real red. Maybe we'll give it a red roof and a red door. And then we'll do the pool party windows and a gray chimney. Or maybe a gray chimney with a red. I don't know. What I was trying to say there was a real red chimney and a gray roof. Oy! I'm just done. I think the pop of the chimney and the door will be great, and then we'll just do the roof in Smoky Slate. And the only thing that looked kind of funny when I was coloring with the Smoky Slate as a base was the door. Unless you get right to those edges, you can see a little bit of the Smoky Slate, and it looks kind of funny. So for the door, I'm not going to do any blending. I'm just going to do it all dark. There we go. We could use gray granite or Smoky Slate. I will go Smoky Slate, and I'm just going to use my brush tip at the top. Give ourselves a bit of a shadow, although I guess the shadow would probably be at the bottom, but there's no shadow police. Okay, and then we can just blend that in. And I did find that using the brush tip would work. This roof type is kind of forgiving. You don't end up really going out of the lines. But if you are more comfortable with the brush, or the bullet tip rather, you do that. Okay, so there is that, and I felt like the windows really needed that little pop of pool party, so I just colored those in. No shading, no blending. It just seems that when anything is white or clear, pool party light to the rescue. Okay, so could not be simpler. I mean, it could be, you just wouldn't color it, but in terms of coloring with blends, it could not be simpler, right? So we're going to die cut this, and then we're also going to do one as the backing, and we'll put that on backwards like we did with the other one. So I'm not sure this will fit in here. So let's just cut that away. I love that this little baby fits on my desk. I don't have to bring out the big guns, the big boss. And once through is enough. A lot of noise, right? Okay, so there's our house. We just need one in real red. I happen to have a scrap right here. So the other event that I shared on my Facebook page today was my Celebration Bingo. That will be on Sunday, January 31st. Tend to do them on Saturdays, but I think we're going to try a Sunday this time. And Celebration Bingo is always my best bingo of the year. And if you've ever attended any of my virtual bingos, I tend to hear good feedback. Not to brag, but Celebration is always the best one because I get way more bang for the buck on the prizes. So every time I order a prize, every time I get to that $60 threshold, I can add more prizes. And I tend to throw in my extras. So for demonstrator orders that I've placed where I'm repeatedly ordering the same things, I will put them in there because I mean, I only need one of each, right? So if you have ever wanted to play bingo and hesitated, this one will be the one you want to join. Okay, so that is it. It didn't take too long other than my having to retake parts of it. But I hope you enjoy that. Let me know whether you prefer the heart with the traditional rooftop or the star with the squared off rooftop. I think of like a townhouse when I see this one. And then whether you like the smoky slate on this one or the memento. Let me know. And, oh, sorry, thumb tremor. Let me know what you would put in them. Would you put in the Andes Mints or the Lindor or Ferrero Rocher, or do you have something entirely different? I put kisses in both of these, but you saw you can use Lifesavers, you can use peppermints, you can use whatever you want. So I hope that you enjoyed that. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. You'll catch a new video each and every week. And if you need any of the supplies to make this or any other project using Stampin' Up! Product, and you live in Canada and you are not working with a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. If you need a copy of the new mini catalog and the celebration brochure, let me know. And if you have any questions, please just don't hesitate to ask. And we'll see you soon, my crafty friends. Bye.